In this video, I'm going to be showing you the best class setups to fit in with the meta in Call of Duty Warzone. And if you're wondering why I'm doing another top 5 best loadouts for Call of Duty Warzone, and that is because we're about almost 2 weeks into Warzone and the meta has kind of evolved. And before there wasn't really a meta, everyone's trying to figure it out. And since the meta has evolved, I wanted to show you guys what everyone is using for high kill games and more wins in Warzone. Before I start this video though, I just want to say thank you to all my new subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I upload tips and tricks, how-tos, best class setups, and pretty much anything that's going to help your Call of Duty gameplay, and your skill level will increase if you subscribe, so make sure you turn on those post notifications so you don't miss an upload. And I'm hoping to get 5 likes on this video, so if you can hit that like button, that would be awesome. But anyways, let's get right into this. So the meta right now in Warzone is to call in a loadout early game, pick a class with overkill on it, and then later in the game, or if you have enough money, just call in another loadout and then switch to a class with Ghost. When you do that, both of your weapons will drop, but then you'll have the class with Ghost. Then you can just pick up the weapons that just went on the ground, and the boom, you have Overkill and Ghost at the same time. And if you want a more in-depth tutorial on how to do that, I will have a link right here. Just click on that and I'll fully explain how to do the Overkill and Ghost at the same time. But anyways, let's get right into this. And so the first class is a M4 Overkill MP7. The MP7 and M4 are pretty dominant right now. So is the Grau MP7, but most people use M4 MP7. What I like to use on my M4 is a monolithic suppressor, stock M16 Grenadier, commando foregrip, 60 round mags, and stippled grip tape. Some people like to switch this out for a Ranger foregrip, just so they can have better recoil control, but I prefer just to have the commando foregrip. If I was you, I would go back and forth and see which one is best for you. Me, I like the commando foregrip. And for the MP7 class, MP7 is very dominant right now. You shit on literally everyone with it. It's so easy to use. I can push like teams of 3 easy and wipe them all. But so on this class, I use a monolithic suppressor, FSS strike barrel, a forge tack ultralight stock, 60 round mags. This is very key for this gun, and a Merc foregrip. You could switch it out for commando foregrip. I'm still trying to figure out which one's best for me. I'm kind of liking the Merc foregrip better, but you always can switch it back for commando. And for the perks, I use cold-blooded, overkill obviously, and amped, lethals, C4. There's so many teams with like cars just driving by you. All you have to do is throw a C4 out, and boom, they're gone. And then heartbeat sensor. This is probably the most OP thing in the game. I don't know if they're gonna nerf it or not because all you have to do is throw on Ghost to counter it. But in the meantime, you're gonna want to be using a heartbeat sensor. Shows you where all the enemies are. And for the second class is pretty much the same thing, but it's the Grau. I sometimes like to use the Grau because I can do more damage over longer distances than I can with the M4, but the M4 is just overall better because it has a faster fire rate and the hip fire isn't as bad as the Grau, and so usually I'll do M4, but if I'm trying to mix it up, I'll do Grau. And so for my Grau class, I do monolithic suppressor, FFS 20.8 inch Nexus barrel, commando foregrip, 50 round mags, XRK Void 2. Do not throw on the Ranger foregrip for this because it will slow down the ADS speed, and the ADS speed on this Grau isn't too good, so just run the commando foregrip. Same exact MP7 class. Pretty much it's the same exact one as the M4 Overkill MP7. And if you're a sniper, you're going to want to be using this class. It's a M4 Overkill HDR. Changed up the M4 class a little bit. It's a monolithic suppressor. Stock M16 Grenadier. No stock, so it can be more mobile and like an SMG kind of. A 60 round mag and a commando foregrip. Do not throw on the Ranger foregrip because you want to keep as much ADS speed as you can because you're going to be using this at close range and medium range, and then you got the HDR for long range. HDR is a monolithic suppressor, 26.9 inch HDR Pro, tac laser, thermal sniper scope. Make sure you have thermal because that's super OP right now. F-tac stalker scout. Sometimes you can switch this out for like recon, sleight of hand, disabling, fully loaded, focus. Pretty much any of these are good. I just prefer Stalker Scout so I can quit scope a little bit easier. The perks you're going to want to be using is cold-blooded, overkill, and amped. Lethals, I do proximity mine because usually I'm not too pushy with a sniper, so I usually sit back a little bit and I like to cover my flanks with the proximity mine. Heartbeat sensor, just so you know who's around you, and if you want to push a building, it makes it a lot easier. So if you want to fit in with the meta, you're going to want to be using this class or this one. And after you choose one of these later in the game, like I said, when you find another loadout drop, you're going to switch to a class with Ghost. And that class that you switch to is a MP7 Ghost class. This one is just the regular MP7 class that I have for it. Then the secondary doesn't matter because you're just going to pick up your M4 again or the Grau. And the perks that you're going to want to use is EOD or cold-blooded. Sometimes EOD just because I've killed myself with C4s, and so sometimes I'll use EOD, but just swap between cold-blooded and EOD doesn't really matter. And then perks, Ghost. Make sure you have Ghost. It's the whole point of switching to this class. and then amp just so you can swap your weapons faster. Same exact lethals and tacticals, C4 and heartbeat sensor for the same reasons. And there is another meta, which is to use Ghost right at the beginning. Like the first loadout you get, you choose a class with Ghost instead of Overkill. And the class you're going to want to use if you're doing that is a M4, same exact attachments as the regular Overkill class. And secondary doesn't really matter because you're going to want to be looking for a MP7 off the ground. That is the key to this class. And for the perks is EOD or cold-blooded. I'm just running EOD on this one. And then Ghost and Amped. C4 and heartbeat sensor for the same exact reason. And so just a reminder, this class is if you want to start with Ghost right off the bat and then find a MP7 off the ground. The only downside to this is that you won't have a MP7 that's fully kitted out. And for the people that like to play Plunder, I use the Grau instead of the M4 just because sometimes I'll have to kill people over longer distances and I can do that easier with the Grau. And if they get close to me, I have an Overkill R9O, which just completely annihilates them. And the attachments I use on the Grau is the same as my other Grau class setup. Secondary is going to be the R9O. The attachments you want to put on that is Monolithic Suppressor, Forge Tac Sentry, F-Tac Close Quarters Pro, a Stippled Grip Tape, and Merc 4. For the perks, I like to do Quick Fix because you're always in a gunfight and it's nice to get that little boost of health, Overkill, and then Amp so you can swap between the weapons faster. For the lethal, I do Proximity Mine, so when someone makes a cash deposit, I'll throw that on the area where you make a deposit. Sometimes I'll get a kill, or I'll just weaken them, and so then it only takes like 1 to 2 bullets for them to die. Then I can go pick up their cash and make the deposit myself. Tactical, you can smoke yourself out when you get to the cash deposit, and that'll just make it harder for enemies to kill you while you're depositing the cash, since it takes about, I think, 2 to 5 seconds to deposit it. If you guys enjoyed this video, please let me know in the comments. I will reply to all you guys, guaranteed. Unless you leave like a mean comment, then I'll probably delete it, but if you leave like a normal comment, I will reply to you. But anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.
Every night fucks every day up. Every day patches the night up.